Welcome everyone to episode 59 of Just Joshing, the Aurora nominated edition. Well, not me, but my guest. I am your host, Joshua Pentalaresco. I write stuff, I podcast too, and I'm also a publicist. And before I get into the podcast, let me publicize my clients. Craig DeLui's new book, Battle Stations, is available for order now on Amazon. You can get it audio or ebook, and by contacting Amazon and other book websites as located. So I've lost it there with my speed. He also has a cool little bonus if you sign up for his newsletter right now, which is Fire One, an awesome choose your own adventure book. Something I need to actually do sometime before the winter begins. My other client, Chris Mars, his next book is called Entangled Souls. Yay! I got it right this time. Entangled Souls, co-authored with Gene O'Neill. That book will be coming out before the year's out. You should also sign up for a newsletter at worldwideweb.hauntedmars.com, HAUNTEDMARRS.com. I promise you, she's an amazing talent. You should check it out. Alright, we are now into the show. What to talk about this week? Well, I am about to go on a little fun, what I like to call my midlife crisis road trip. Though it's not really a midlife crisis, it's more like I've been on a vacation in a while, and I kind of want to go on an adventure, so I'm going to do it. I was originally going to do C4 in Winnipeg, but plans kind of fell through there, which is okay. I went and instead I was like, well, okay, what can I do? I got a lot coming up next year. One book's handed in. I'm working on a second book right now, and I'm also working on a third book. I'm going to be going and doing a lot of things next year that are going to be very book related. I'm going to be doing a lot of traveling, and before I get really busy, what I'd like to do is I'd like to reconnect with some people and fulfill some promises, which means I'm going to take a very odd little tour. Like I said, it'll be an interesting 2 weeks. I got some things I'm still working on right now, but I'll be doing that. And talk about some of the other things I'm going to work on real soon. But my guest today, I should get to that now, is Suzy Vadori. And Suzy Vadori wrote an amazing book. I didn't finish it, Suzy. I did start it though, and it's really amazing. It was nominated for the Aurora Award for Best Young Adult Novel, and it's really good. I was really shocked because it's kind of starts slow, but you really get into the characters' heads and you really understand the motivation, and the conflict in the fountain is actually really sophisticated for a young adult book. It's almost a magic fountain grants Ava a wish to get rid of her tormentor, and suddenly she's in a world where that person doesn't even exist. And that's a hard thing to want to correct, considering the hell that Ava went through in just the first 50 pages. I don't know if I want to wish them back. It's a really good book, and Suzy, the reason why she's this week's guest is because she kind of cameoed in the last episode. Kind of at the very end there, wondering what the heck me and GW were doing at Robert Sawyer's party, which was me interviewing GW for the podcast, the two-parter you just saw last week. That was my first impression of her. And then we got to talking, and I just realized that Suzy's one of the sharpest people I know. She's very sharp. She has a real clear idea of where she wants to take her books, and I think she's going to succeed. I think she's really going to succeed. She's got a really good drive about her, and like I said, she's got a really good head on her shoulders. And again, when I first saw her hanging out with Simon. I saw a party Suzy. But real Suzy, or the Suzy we talk in those podcasts, is about as sharp as they come. And it was a real pleasure chatting with her. So I'm going to get right to that. First, though, just a quick thing from my sponsor. My merchandise, I should say. And we'll go right to the podcast. Alrighty. Tired of buying t-shirts, coffee cups, and other memorabilia that all podcasts seem to have? I sincerely hope not, because I'm jumping aboard this gravy train right now. That's right. You can be the proud owner of a Just Joshing t-shirt, photographic print, and coffee cup at my Redbubble store. Redbubble has one-click ordering and will ship anywhere in North America. Check out http://worldwideweb.redbubble.com/people/jpenteloresco for more details. I want to say anything incriminating. You can say
Okay.
It's too late. Or you can be incriminating, it'll just be black, whatever the case may be. Suzy Vadori. Suzy Vadori, yes. I feel bad. See, my name's kind of big, long, and awkward for a lot of people, so it's just, I always feel bad when I get a name right. So how you doing?
I'm great. It's actually not a problem because Vadori is actually difficult to spell. A lot of people put an L or an N in it, but I am the only Suzy Vadori out there on the internet, so it's kind of it's kind of better because I can say to readers, hey, I'm the only one out there, so I don't need to card or anything like that. Yes. So they find me really easily.
Well, I feel we should start with the Aurora and kind of work backwards a little bit here. So congratulations for being nominated. I know it's a pleasure to be nominated. It always feels kind of lame afterwards, but it's really cool.
No, you know what? I was really excited. The Fountain, I was nominated for an Aurora Award for Best Young Adult Novel this year in 2016 for the Auroras, and I was just absolutely thrilled. It was a really wonderful surprise. It is my first book published. It's the first in a trilogy, but it wasn't really on my radar, and I had some folks from the Science Fiction and Fantasy Association come to me before the nominations and say, I read your book and I love it and I want to nominate it. Are you okay with that? And I was like, sure. So it was really, really neat. It's the young adult category is one where not all of the base that actually votes is really familiar with young adults. So to have that group actually read my novel, love my novel, and come to me and want to talk about my, teen romance in it and things like that was really, really thrilling. So yeah, it didn't. I didn't take home the trophy last night. It was won by Leah Bobbitt out of Toronto for her Scholastic novel. But hey, thrilled to be nominated. So it was a super fun award ceremony.
And not bad for her first book at all. So congratulations on that. So are you on book 2? Are you working on it already?
Absolutely. So this book was published with Evil Alter Ego Press, and the next book should be out in March of 2017. So that's really exciting. I'm working on it now, and have been able to incorporate a lot of feedback from fans in that second book in the trilogy. So out of the first book, out of the Fountain, the number one thing that I get from teens is there's a girl in it named Courtney, and she gets wished away within the first section of the book, and she's not a nice person, and so you don't really miss her. But the number one question that I get is, why is that girl so mean? Like, she's just a horrible person. Like, what the hell? And so yeah, there's actually a really, really important reason why she's like that, and it has to do with the magical world that they live in. And so this next book is Courtney's story, and it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah. So I gotta ask this because I have to admit, there's a guilty pleasure when I write villains. Personally, I have fun being mean. Did you have fun being mean?
Oh, I had a lot of fun. It's difficult when you're writing a book for girls, and especially tween and teen girls, because when you put a mean girl in there, you get the title of quote-unquote mean girl, and that it's a mean girl story, and a lot of professional reviewers have called it that, and I don't think that's what the story's about, but certainly as far as mean girls go, this villain is one of the worst. So you really feel Ava's pain as she has all these horrible things happen to her, and so it kind of pushes her over the edge, and she goes to the woods, runs off into the woods, and she finds this fountain, and she throws a coin in, and she's really upset, and she says, I wish that Courtney never existed. And then she disappears, and so it's kind of like It's a Wonderful Life, or something where everybody's life touches a lot of different things, and so the whole world has shifted, and Ava's life actually gets better, but.
Ooh, so that's an interesting one because the right thing to do is to bring her back, but that's hard to do.
It is really hard to do, and so when you're writing for teen girls, especially. some of those lessons in there, and without hitting you over the head with the lesson, but some of those things are about coming of age and figuring out who you are, and am I that person who's going to let this person not come back?
Yes.
Am I that person that's going to accept that now the path is opened up for me? And so it really creates a real struggle for the main character, and it's a really neat one to talk about.
No, it's actually a neat struggle. It's not something that's usually done. A heroic character actually gets what they want. Do you really want it? I mean, that's kind of like one of those life things too. Sometimes you go in life, and sometimes you wish for something, and life will present you a door. Sometimes magically a door opens and it's there, and it's like, do you really want it? Like, do you really want it? Are you sure? Because that's usually that's what happens. And if you take it, this path opens up. If you don't, it goes away eventually. But it says a lot about who a person can be or is based on, like, yes, I want it to be this way, or no, I don't, and why. And that's really good development stuff. So.
Absolutely, and I think that's true throughout our lives. There's always choices, and there's not always a black and white right choice and wrong choice, but especially when you're growing up. If you remember back to your teens, and the kids in this book are 16, but it's really easy to put yourself back in their shoes and to be like, okay, well, who do I want to be, and what can I live with, and who am I, and who could I be, and all of those things. And so it's a real, that's a part of the magic about young adult fiction is that real exploration of self.
Yeah, well, it's important because I find, like, with me personally, I've noticed this with a lot of adults, including myself, like, there's still questions as a kid. Like, a lot of adults don't know what they want until they're far older. Who they are is a big part of that too. And like I said, it's like nowadays, like, people go through a machine, like where life kind of goes, and you go through it and you do what everybody else wants it does because that's what everybody else did, and then you go through it and you're like, I still don't know what I want. I still don't know who I am. And that's when usually midlife crises tend to happen, right?
And I was just about to say that, I actually have two really distinct sets of readership, and that is the sort of 11 to 15-year-old girl, which is what I wrote it for. And then I have 40-year-old moms like myself who read this book and love it, and it resonates, and they write to me, and they talk to me about it. And I think that's probably exactly what you're saying. You go through all these things, and you have a life plan, and you maybe have planned your life out to 40 or whatever. Let's have 2.5 kids and a house and a this and a that, and a lot of us find ourselves there, and then you go, okay, well, now what? I became a writer. There's these crossroads in life, and I think that no matter how old you are, it probably always throws you back to that time when you were forming yourself and you made those choices and you went down that path. And some of us get to a place and then you say, hey, what if I'd chosen something different, or do I have to stay on this path? And so I think that's why it resonates with both age groups.
Not only that, there's also a point too where I think it's a matter of your time and stuff. Like a lot of us, like I did the opposite. I decided that I was going to chase my passions first, and then once I have an idea of who I am and what I want, then maybe I look for the 2.5 kids, the White House picket fence. Now I'm not so sure I want the White House picket fence. Or maybe something a little bit more mobile, like maybe like one of those cool bands that's like secretly a Batmobile kind of thing. I don't know.
Well, and I'm not saying that the White House and picket fence is for everybody.
No, absolutely, no.
Certainly not.
Yeah, but that was anyways the norm. That's changing now a lot.
Totally.
But that's a good thing too, I think, because I think everything needs to change. But I actually think I actually truly think that people always have to develop and always have to keep these things in mind, and it doesn't stop when you become 18 or 19 or 20. You keep going because you keep growing and changing and evolving personally. That's what I've noticed with myself and with a lot of people. I think it's important. And not only is to find the things that make it worthwhile to keep going and changing and molding, and like I said, I chose to do it backwards. So now I'm trying to catch up with all the other stuff, right? So, who knows? Like I said, I'll have my first car at 35, and I'm okay with that, actually. It's just one of those things where it's just like, I don't need this right now. I have thousands of miles under my belt already. What do I need thousands more for? Now it's like, well, you're a writer, and you need to go on the road, and car is nice.
Yeah, so that's kind of how I see
Yeah,
it.
no, absolutely, and that's just it. Is everybody's path is different, and everybody's dreams are different. And I have 3 kids myself, and I don't know that they'll grow up wanting to have the house and the white picket fence. I really don't think they will, and certainly not by what my husband and I are modeling for them, because we have huge dreams, and I'm somebody who's crazy ambitious. And when I say, okay, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to write a novel, I'm going to get it published, it's going to be a trilogy, and I'm going to do this, and people in my life know that that's probably going to happen one way or another, and I will move heaven and earth, right? So this has been an amazing ride. Becoming a writer sort of later in life. I've always written and done a lot of business things. I work in business in my day job. And so I really had the tools for it, but writing a novel is a little bit different. It's a lot more fun, it's a lot more imaginative, and I just really enjoy the whole process. And then to have it published, to have readers who fall in love with your characters and really get it, and they didn't just read it and go, yeah, it was good. They read it, and then they come back to you and they say, oh my gosh, when this happened, it was just like magic, and you say, well, that's what I wanted to do. And so it's really, really exciting when that happens. So
and it's cool you got ambitious, so you got a trilogy planned with this. So what other plots for world domination do you have, or do you
what other plots for world domination? Well, I tend to start small. I do set lots of goals. This past year, I did a half marathon. I ran a half marathon. I did a triathlon. I do little things, and they're not things that I come naturally. I hate running. But I like swimming, and so to do a triathlon, I had to train for the run. So I just do things to sort of fill my time, but I set a lot of goals, and I have friends that say, well, why do you run if you hate running? And I'm like, because I don't like running. So it's kind of something that you can conquer, right? So it's something that running in the exercise and keeping healthy is really important in my life, but I don't have a lot of time. And so if I want to write, and I want to work, and I want to be a great mom, or as good as I can be given that I write and I work, I just think that finding something or finding some way to fit that in. And running, all I need is a pair of running shoes and time, and I can do it in my basement and watch TV on the treadmill, or I can go out if time permits. But it's just something where I don't have to be at a class, or I don't have to do things, and so it's just fitting all those things in to make a balanced life, and making concessions. I prefer to go do something else for exercise, but I can't. So you got to make it work, and you want to be a healthy person.
I especially time thing, I so understand that.
Yeah.
I had to relearn how to balance my time the last couple months, because I had things that come my way I did not expect. I'm kind of like you in this, because I get this impression you're one of those people who are like, you get this idea cut into your head, it's like, this seems crazy, but then on the other hand, you're like, why not? Let's just see what happens, right? And then I'm kind of that way too, and I'm like, but the challenge is, like, you got to balance your time. You're like, okay, you got to make time for this, but you got to make time for this, you got to make time for this, and what I'm finding now is I'm getting to my middle years, I'm giving up a lot of the things that I enjoyed younger, because it's not like I still enjoy some of these things. It's just time. If I really want to do this, I want to become this person, I have to give this up. And
it's priorities. It's definitely priorities, and certainly, like, I'm talking about all these things, my kids and my family and my husband, that is my priority in life, and I would give everything else up to do that. But I think that it's important to be a happy person in yourself as well, and figure all that out on the side.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's see. We talked about that. So since you're doing triathlons, and so what?
I'm terrible at them. Don't get me wrong.
No. Look,
but I can finish.
I'll tell you this. I was on I did the high school track team.
Yeah.
I sucked. I was terrible. But I did it because it was just, I need to get in shape, and I wanted to become a stronger runner. And I used to do long distance running when I was in high school. I haven't done it out here because for some reason, just out here, it doesn't have quite the same appeal. But but I did it when I was younger, and it was like, I want to be a better long distance runner. So I did track, so I would be a stronger runner when I ran. I mean, I was dead last. I was the kid that was dead last. Yeah,
I did a triathlon last weekend, and my kids said, "Mommy, did you win?" I said, "Well, I didn't come last, and that's the goal." But I think, what's the fun if you've trained for it? Because it's a lot harder if it's really hard. It's a bigger accomplishment when you finish, I guess. I don't know.
So you want to do bigger ones at some point, like, you know, the 30, 40K style things, maybe swim across a lake someday kind of deal?
Oh, swim across a lake I do all the time, but no. I grew up in I was born in Nova Scotia, and we have a place in Nova Scotia still, so I go there every year, and I swim in the ocean a lot. So wetsuit or not, depends on the time of the year, but yeah, that's something I really, really enjoy. And actually, in the fountain, the main character, Ava, is a swimmer, and she's a competitive swimmer, and I never really swam competitively, but I enjoy it. I swim in open water a lot, and some of the things when it first went out for edits, one of the comments was, well, I don't know if I really buy that, you know, that she dove into the water and then everything was right. You know, there's a lot more words around it, but basically it's that feeling of really belonging in the water that I wanted to convey. And they were like, I don't know if I buy that. Does that happen? I'm like, oh, it happens. So you know, like if you've experienced it, or if that's like your happy place, then it is. And so there's often pieces of yourself in your characters, and certainly Ava is not me, but there are certainly experiences that you can add to the story that are things from your life that nobody else could write.
Well, no, it's I think it's a natural part of any writer. Look, I mean, I have some of the thoughts in my books, like some of the characters, some of their ideas, they're mine. I mean, it's not. I don't think you can completely escape that. They're a part of you. There might be something again. I don't think I'm as tough as Kristen in my book. She's way bigger badass than I ever would hope to be.
But maybe she's who you want to be.
Yeah, exactly. maybe
who your inner self wants to come out.
That's right. Able to punch out jailers just to escape a 12. I mean, she's a legit badass. But again, not that. But there are definitely parts there's definitely parts to me, and it took me a long time to figure that out as a writer. When did that click with you?
I think it clicked when you go to start writing novel-length pieces. I'd written shorter things before, and as I said, I've done a lot of business writing. I've done started a lot of novels, in particular in my teens, that I never did finish. But when you go to finish it, you realize that you need a lot more content, and so you have to keep your reader engaged. And it's okay to have an outline, but to write a novel, you actually have to have a lot of subplots and a lot of layers and a lot of content, and that's where those experiences really do come in. And I mean, you change them, and they don't always fit for your characters, but certainly they end up creeping in. And I think in some ways, I say Ava is not me, but she's very ambitious, and she does believe that she can achieve whatever she wants, and I think that part is all me, because I think all women and children and men and whoever else should be able to do things that they want to do, and I really never see limitations. If I say I'm going to do something, I'll find a way to do it.
I actually believe that, so I don't doubt that one little bit.
I'm willing to work for it. I don't expect it to be handed to me, and I think that's the plot here, is that something has been handed to her, and then it just doesn't sit right.
No.
So I don't expect life to be handed to me. I'm willing to work for it, but part of the fun is to figure out how to make it happen. You only get one life, and if you really want to do something, what I say, especially to young readers, is you can do anything, and I don't just say that to be it's not just a line. You really can, and to meet people that maybe have limitations or say, well, I'll never be this or I'll never do that, is really frustrating to me, because I like to be that mentor that can show them how to get there.
I understand it, but it's a common thing. I actually hate. I remember going back, when I achieved my first book, I remember thinking back to all the teachers that had always told me, you have to have realistic goals. And I just look at that, and so when I look at my book, I kind of smile. I was like, yeah, you know what? Screw your realism. Mine was better, and that's kind of. There's a part of me that enjoys it. A lot of people have an idea of what is realistic, and I kind of feel that that's wrong. I wish we teach kids at a younger age. There is no real limits to what you can do. Not. They say that, but they also say, if you're good enough, if you have your degree, if you have this, if you have that. No,
you work hard, you can get whatever.
Exactly.
I mean, there's some people that have natural talents and certainly play those up. I mean, could I ever be an Olympic swimmer? No, I'm 41 years old, and I didn't train for it, and I probably couldn't have been then either, because I maybe don't have the right, body type or whatever. But you can still do it. You can still be in the game.
Absolutely.
Maybe not the Olympic Games, but something else, right?
No. Something tells me, with you just have a kind of resolve. No, it's the resolve.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know if you'd won the gold medal. But
yeah.
I could
Well,
say
if you were willing to train 40 hours a week and you know, at a young age and everything else, if you had a time machine.
But maybe, but my impression of this, now that I've actually talked to you and we're actually serious, is, you know, I don't know. Like there's like, it's just one of those things. Is like there's a lot to respect about resolve. You met Ella Beaumont?
Yeah.
She terrifies me a little bit because I look at her. She grins and she smiles, but you can see it in her eyes. Right?
Yeah, I don't know her, but I know of her.
Yeah, you just see it. Like she's got a certain resolve to her, and you just know like she won't break to a mountain. The mountain won't break to her, and that's kind of like and. You can see that with some people. I look at you right now. I'm thinking to myself.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I'm looking at that. I'm thinking, you know, I think you might. I think you got that in you. Again, gold medal, maybe not.
No gold medal.
But maybe not. But in that meet, at that event, at that place, at that time, if you really, really wanted to be there, my money would be you'd be there. And that's it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I think that's, you know, but the gold medal for me at this point in time would be to have my series in the hands of more readers. And, you know, working with a small press and being an unknown author, it's a big hill to climb. But I'm up for the challenge and just want to get it out there. So
2 more books, it'll happen.
Absolutely.
It'll happen. I actually get look. I got this plan for this trilogy here. Then I got a plan for a comic series. I got a plan for a novel. I got some ambitious ideas and how to go about where to do. I kind of march to my own drum, just the way I am.
Yeah.
But but the thing is, again, the result's there. It's just I'm going to go. I'm going to achieve. I'm going to write. I'm going to set out to do every single thing.
Congratulations! Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, that's my own personal resolution. And if you got that too, what will eventually happen is people respect that. People will walk.
Success breeds success.
Well, not even
something like that.
More like resolve breeds resolve.
Yeah.
Right. The biblical verse, "He that endures to the end will be saved." It's not just about God saving. Look, it's about lots of people quit. Lots of people get sidetracked. Lots of people get whatever happens. It takes guts. It takes guts, but it also takes resolve. It takes heart, and it takes the willingness to go out and do it. And if you do that, and people see that, doors open.
Well, it does take guts, especially in writing, and that's something that is really difficult for most writers, is to put your work out there. And so, I'm an outgoing person. I'm used to being in positions where you do public speaking and things like that. And so those pieces for me are easy, but it's still really difficult to put all the words on your page and to get them to the point that you think it's amazing, and then to get somebody else to read it. And there's still that fear. And so,
always,
like for every writer.
Oh no, and it's a good thing. I when I was younger, I didn't have that fear, but that just told me I wasn't good enough. Now I'm older, I'm a little bit more. I recognize the fear, but I kind of thrive off it. I actually enjoy it a little bit.
Okay.
Because I know I'm alive. Like that's the thing. It matters to me. I care. This is an important step. Even if it sucks, I don't care. I'll make it better. It'll come back, and that's it. I mean I subscribe to the Peter Parker way of dealing with fear, telling really, really terrible, crappy jokes while in the middle of doing whatever it is that frightens the pants out of you, because I don't know, it's just one of those things where I just feel very alive doing it, doing things like that. I already said that to this a couple other podcasts this week. I'll say it to you, when I'm 80 years old, I'm jumping on a trampoline with little kids, because I can, and that's it. I don't care if I need hips or whatever. It's just, again, it's things that interest, challenge, things that. Yeah, you only got one life.
Absolutely, and that rush or that adrenaline. I think I'm not somebody who enjoys speed, and I'm not somebody who enjoys there's certain things I actually don't like that other people seek. And I think writing is such a challenge. It's such a challenge in a way that every book is going to be a challenge. So I got one book published and I have more on the way. Well, are they going to be as good? I don't know. They better be. I hope they're better. I hope they actually win the Aurora next time. But.
As long as you got something to say, they will always be better. It's when you stop. The day I stop writing,
I've always got things to say.
Well, that's good. But it's it. As the day I stop writing is the day I stop saying anything new. That's it. Then at that point, I do something else, because I'm a big fan of. I love Ray Bradbury. Loved Ray Bradbury when I was a kid. Still love him to this day. I still enjoy his stuff. But there comes a point in a writer's life, you almost can see that with some of the guys that have been around a really long time, they've said everything they're going to say. Like,
Yeah.
really, it's new and original and fresh.
Or they've stopped trying, or they've stopped.
dropped, yeah, and once you hit that point, I mean, I get it too. Look, I'm sure, I'm not bringing him up because anything bad. I'm sure Orson Scott Card makes a very good chunk of money doing Ender novels. Like, still, to this day, they still pay him whatever they pay him to do it. But the truth of the matter is, you know, there comes a point where you've said everything you want to say. Like, the next book in my book series that's the last book for now, because I don't know anything else I can say for now on there. So I want to go somewhere else where I can say something different and new and fun and something relevant and also just be more experimentative than I was here and just challenge myself and push myself. And I can still do that, so I know I still belong here. But if that ever stopped...
Well, I think that's the beauty of writing, though, is, you know, it does grow as you grow as a person, and what you're interested in the time. I mean, if you're locked into writing a series, then you have to have to finish the series. But you know, when these books are out with my editor, I have another project that I'm working on, and it's completely different. It's a book for adults, and whether or not I ever finish it, or whether or not, I mean, I've built a name in the young adult space, and it's very different from what I would have to do if I release something for adults. But it's that creativity and that being able to work on yourself and be able to work on your craft and continuing to expand. That, you know, maybe I'll use it someday or maybe I won't. But yeah, just to keep busy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, adult novels. Is there any other kind of genres you would like to actually try that you haven't tried yet?
No, I think it's quite a bit to pull off as it is. As I mentioned, I have 3 kids, and so I really, and as a mom, and as you know, with my career in my day job, I really wanted to write something that I was proud of, and I really wanted to write something that my kids could read, and so that's where I sort of landed with young adult, and it really resonates for lots of reasons. And as I mentioned before, I'm finding that my readership is also adult, in a way that, because there's layers, and so if you've got layers in there, that makes it interesting enough for an adult, but some things in there that I worried about my 10-year-old reading, and then she read it and it kind of went right over her head, you know, and she didn't ask me the questions that I was like, okay, well, I'm going to get some questions after that paragraph or after that scene or whatever, and they didn't come, and so you write it in a way that's really kind of a fun puzzle, because it appeals to different ages because they get different things out of it. It's like when you watch the Flintstones as an adult, you get all these like horrible jokes that you didn't understand when you were a child. And
from that era is Bugs Bunny. I love the Bugs Bunny cartoons for that reason, because they are so sophisticated.
They are really sophisticated, and I think that's the challenge of writing this like quote unquote crossover novel or whatever it is. I mean, you can't try to do it. You just either it is or it isn't that you can hit different age groups.
I just think it's just about being true to you, and just like I said, if you hits the right chord at the right time, boom, and then suddenly you're there. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, wow, we've gone already quite a bit. So, I think what we should do is you should talk about your Aurora nominated book in like a synopsis, and where people can find you.
Sure, absolutely. So The Fountain, as I've been talking about, is my first book. It's the first in this trilogy. The next book, I believe, will be called The West Woods, and I think this is the first time that I've actually told people that.
Awesome.
It's going to be called The West Woods, and it is about a 16-year-old girl named Ava, and she moves from San Francisco to New England to go to a boarding school where her mom had gone, and her mom died when she was 10, so she's looking to find that connection with her mom and find out more about her family, because her dad won't talk about her. And she gets there, and her reputation precedes her because her family had gone to the school, and there's some kids that aren't that nice, and as I mentioned before, you know, I get a lot of, like, it's mean girls, and that is a thing, it's a theme, and, you know, bullying and everything else, and that isn't what I set out to do. It's just that you're not accepted, and that you're the outsider kid in school, which I've been lots of times.
Same here.
And so the thing is that she goes there and she gets really upset, and she runs off into the woods, and she throws a coin into the fountain, and she wishes that this girl had never existed. But when she gets back to school, everything gets better for her, and she has this dilemma. She meets a boy, there's a romance, there's a mystery. She has to find out about the magic of the school and the history of her family, and figure out how to go from there. And so,
really cool coming of age story, sounds like. So very good. And so if people want to find you online, how do they do that?
Well, Suzy Vadori, as I mentioned at the beginning of it, it's really easy to find me. My Twitter handle is @VadoriS. My WordPress site is suzyvadori.wordpress.com. And yeah, I'd love to hear from anybody. I'm very active on social media. I also have a Facebook author page. So
very cool. So there.
And that was Suzy Vadori. And like I said, one of the sharpest, most driven, and very passionate about her work. And like I said, one of my favorite people. I'm hoping to get her back on the show when her next book comes out because she was really cool. So thank you, Suzy, very much for doing the podcast. And that, my friends, is that. This is another episode of Just Joshing coming to a close. If you want to help the podcast, subscribe to it. If not, buy some books, buy some shirts, buy some merch. Jolty needs cookies, so I'm going to say there. If you want to support Suzy, check out The Fountain. Find her on Twitter and Instagram. She's got more followers than me. She's awesome that way. And beyond all that, whatever it is you choose to do in your life, stay inspired, keep doing it, and find what you love. And yeah, see you guys next time. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Whatever that is. Alrighty, guys. Later.
Josh. Shush.